This week on the Movies and Stuff show, a roundtable discussion on Star Wars Rogue One. Stay tuned. And welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff show. My name is Dan, and we didn't have an opening crawl.
Oh.
Very upset about
Too
that.
soon.
Very upset that we didn't have an opening crawl. I guess if you couldn't tell by our fancy opening graphics, good job, Abe.
There you go.
We're talking about
Nice.
Star Wars Rogue One. As I mentioned, I'm Dan, my co-host Abe.
Hey, what's up?
I don't know. What do you call Marty anymore? I mean, he just kind of like usurped our show, right? I mean, he's kind of like one of those people that, comes into your house and never leaves.
Yes. I like to think of him as the Banya of our channel. That's just
Banya.
Marty, welcome back.
He doesn't let go of things.
You guys are always giving the warmest welcomes.
And making his comeback to these circles, Mike.
He's so thrilled too.
I am. I'm ready to. I feel liberated. I can talk about things.
oh.
Well, I'm sure if he was allowed to, he would have loved to be on the Neon Demon roundtable.
Oh, I know.
See, that would have been something he would. Abe would have sat that one out.
I would have been more than happy to sit that one out.
Oh,
No, but we are
Jenna
talking.
Malone is down for anything.
Yes, she is. I guess we'll find out. Is she playing Robin? Like that was the.
Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon. That's it.
Yeah.
She's playing Barbara Gordon. So maybe we'll do a Killing Joke movie and better than the one that we got this year.
Oh.
Rogue One hit theaters. It was last week. Last Thursday. Yeah, but when the movies they just stopped. These are Thursday. Like I think it was like Thursday at like 8 p.m. 7 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah,
It's not even like midnight movie. Soon it's going to be like Wednesday at midnight. It's going to be the big deal.
It's this crazy thing. They realize they can make more money if they open them on Thursdays. It was science, I think.
Well, some of the movies get front loaded because you have the fans come out. It's kind of like, opening for Black Friday on Thanksgiving. It's like, So all the people go. Half the people go shopping on Thursday, and then half the people go shopping on Friday, and they're like, "Oh, Black Friday numbers are down." Well, and there's this thing called the internet, but that only affects movies, I guess, a little bit comparatively. I mean, it still made $155 million over the weekend. I gotta say, it was right around expectations. Although I was talking to some in the know people, they were going as high as 180. Which I thought was a little too much because that would have been ahead of Civil War.
Yeah, I think that was the high end guess. The low end guess was I think 130, and then the highest it could be was around 180, and it settled in around 150, where most people expected.
I think some people overestimated the enthusiasm for this movie. I talked to a lot of people that really, really like it, and then again, I talked to some people who are meh on it, and I'm sure we'll get into that here.
Yeah, worldwide, it kind of fell short of expectations a little bit, right?
I mean, still the number one December opening that wasn't Force Awakens. So
And we don't have Chinese numbers yet. Has it even opened there yet? It hasn't even opened there yet.
no, I don't think that's always later in China.
Then that'll
Well,
be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And even
the thing
Force
about
Awakens didn't do well there.
The thing about China too is that Zheng Wen and Donnie Yen are their big play for that market, and hopefully it'll. Well, I don't want to say hopefully, but I think it might pay off especially because they have such a fun, decent sized role in the movie, and Donnie Yen gets to kick some ass and do some cool stuff. I thought he was the best part of the movie. That's just me.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. Now you saw a preview of it, right? You went to an early showing.
Yeah, I went to a press screening. I for the people out there who don't know me, I used to be a reporter and editor with the Wall Street Journal and their arts team. I'm doing freelance stuff now, looking for other stuff because they scaled back a little bit there. But I managed to get into a press screening, and it wasn't as electric as the Force Awakens press screening last year. It wasn't such a hot ticket, but it was still packed. And at the end, there was a very strong amount of applause after the big. And we're getting into spoilers here, so spoiler warning. The very last shot with Princess Leia and then her ship going off into hyperspace.
Oh, Princess Leia.
Yeah, quote unquote Princess Leia, Final Fantasy Princess Leia. I was surprised it received such a big round of applause because at the end I was struck a little cold by that ending. I was a little puzzled by it. Like why do that? We know what's happening. We know where it's going. Why do that? Why go that far? But yeah, it and of course the reports out of the first screening in LA, people were rapturous, and I was getting really hyped by it, and it just didn't feel that way after that early screening.
Yeah, I saw it opening night. I went to see Marty Be Happy. I went to the big movie theater. I didn't go to my local crap theater. I actually went to the big one. I saw it on the Limax 3D.
Very proud of you.
Yeah. Drove there all by myself.
Got his big boy pants on.
Yeah. So I saw it opening night. The theater was packed. I found a seat. I was by myself, so I was able to find a seat. But yeah, there were people coming in. It was a 10:30 showing. People coming in at 10:35, and they were front, sitting in the front couple of rows. It was pretty packed. 10:30 on Thursday night, and yeah, same thing, Mike. I like a standing ovation. There was 2 standing ovations during the show. One was actually during the trailers for fucking Guardian of the Galaxy 2, which I predict is going to be a huge fucking movie because people were standing ovation for the fucking trailer. Yeah. And then at the end of this movie, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. But there's something about that ending, man, that when you start to start to think about it and how it ties into the next movie, episode 4, it's just like, well, no, that's not right.
Yeah, there's too many little holes that it opens up, and why? It's pointless to do that.
And a lot of people are saying that it kind of solved some of the plot holes in the next couple of movies, but as many plot holes that it solved, I think it created so many more. Marty, I know you're excited to see this, right? You had high expectations.
I was. Yeah, I heard a couple. Watched a lot of reviews early on from people who love Star Wars that I watch. I read online or watch online, and they were all excited. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be great. And Mike, I was actually with Mike when we saw Force Awakens last year, and the buzz for that was just. I saw the Force Awakens 3 times that weekend. And every time I saw it, the line was out the door. People were antsy and having a good time. This one I saw 8 o'clock, New York City, Dolby AMC, big theater. It was packed, but it wasn't. Actually, it's this weird thing to judge, but there was no line for the popcorn, which was like kind of weird. I just kind of walked right in. It wasn't that crowded yet. People were kind of, it filled up, but it wasn't the anticipation, I guess. And like, if anyone's seen, I put up a little review right when I got home that night, and it was just kind of, I didn't hate the movie. Like, Abe hates the movie because that's what Abe does.
I tell you, man, you looked like you just got dumped by a girl. Yeah, you were heartbroken, man.
It was just kind of like I don't like this feeling kind of feeling. Like 10 minutes in, and this is the thing that I've been talking about to everybody, but I'm the only one who seems to care. But when they started putting fucking on-screen text on the movie, telling me where every stupid little planet was, yeah, I know what the planet is. I just heard you say what the planet was 2 minutes ago. I don't need it on the screen. I don't need to. I need to be immersed in the Star Wars. I don't need to be reminded every 2 seconds. Oh yeah, I'm watching a movie and there's text on screen. And like I said, no one cares apparently, but it pissed me the fuck off, and it took me out of the movie for a good 20 minutes.
Well, it was a good 20 minutes to be out of the movie. That first 20 minutes, that's for sure.
I'm looking at the chat too, and it's Cassis Brooke is saying that the Geek Syndicate guys in the UK went to press screening in London, and they also said there was a round of applause at the end. So it's not just the British, it's not just the Americans that have bad taste in movies.
I didn't have a lot of
as well.
I had a smattering of applauses during my screening, my showing, but it wasn't thunderous like Force Awakens by any means.
Yeah, at the end of Force Awakens, when Marty and I saw it, like after the movie, like the moment where she picked up the lightsaber in the snow, I slapped Marty in the arm. I'm like, yes, I was like, this is it, and there was never any moment like that in Rogue One. It's just like the first 20 minutes, Abe, you nailed it. That prologue was okay, and it would have been fun. It would have been even better if the movie was actually about Jyn Erso. But it like started out about Jyn Erso and then kind of sort of was about her kind of maybe doing stuff because of what her father and, non-solo, as one of my friends called him, tell her to do, Diego Luna. It just 15, 20 minutes in, I was like, wait a minute. I don't care.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong? Like, Force Awakens, I was roped in right from the beginning. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, okay, it's a different kind of movie. It doesn't follow the traditional 3-act George Lucas epic poetic structure that The Force Awakens was following. This is different. But then I kept waiting for that moment where I was like, yes. Never came. There were some moments where I was caught up in the action. I really liked the score. I did like the score.
I've actually heard people who loved the movie but hated the score, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people criticizing and saying it's too much like Star Trek.
But apparently, this guy only had 4 weeks to work on the score. It was kind of a rush job, so I'm going to pass on that.
He integrated some good sounds into it, and I think he did a good job handling Williams' themes. Some moments I found myself listening to the score more than paying attention to the movie itself. But I never I was caught up from time to time. I thought it was well acted. I thought that, especially when Donnie Yen and Jung Wen showed up, even though they were completely shortchanged by the script. Like, oh, they're just Guardians of the Wills. Oh, okay, what's that? He's a quasi Jedi. What does that mean? Like, what's going on? But he did so many cool things that I was fine with it. But
and the fact is that people are saying that they were a gay couple, and when you think about it that way,
that's fine too. I mean, either way. Yeah,
go back to the beginning for a second, because we had all heard there was going to be no crawl, and I thought I was fine with it actually. But then I'm the only one here who read Catalyst, and that was kind of basically the crawl would have been. Yeah. But then once you start the movie, if you didn't read Catalyst, you really don't know what the fuck's going on there. And then it's only a 3-minute scene, basically, and then they're gone somewhere else. I mean, from where I read Catalyst, that opening scene is about within a year or so later, and it makes it seem like Galen just left on his own volition, and they came back to get him because they needed him. No, he ran away, and Krennic was under huge pressure to go find him because he was the key to the whole thing. And there was a whole thing where he hated the wife, and they had a whole thing going on there, and they just kind of passed that off. They killed the wife within 2 minutes, and it's just like a nothing scene. Galen, they didn't even show a reaction shot of Galen after his wife got killed in front of him.
Right.
Does this movie succeed on any level as being a standalone movie? I don't think it does.
No.
I didn't on any level.
Yeah. As a standalone movie? No. It is another prequel. It is another prequel. And frankly, I knew for a long time that it was going to be about the plan, about the plot to steal the Death Star plans, but I feel, and that automatically connects it to Episode 4 or Star Wars New Hope, whatever you want to call it. But I felt like going into this was going to have more of a standalone feel. And while there were moments where it is a different kind of movie, it is structured differently. But I don't know if it was structured differently by design or because they didn't know what kind of movie they had. Was there going to be a strong protagonist, or was it going to be a team-up movie? What kind of tone did we want to strike? Are we going to go dark and gritty, which the movie did get, or are we going to be light and buoyant like a Marvel movie, or a traditional Star Wars movie, which they tried to work into, and some of the jokes fell flat. it's not it is another prequel, and it even has the and it has the Skywalker family in there. It has Leia and Vader, so it is part of their story too. And supposedly this wasn't going to be part of that.
Yeah. And as Amanda says, it's a Disney movie, so they have to kill some parents.
Yes.
My girlfriend did. After we saw it, she liked it, but she said, "Oh, they did the whole Disney thing in the beginning." I didn't even know what she meant, but she meant the killing of the mother. Going right back to Bambi, basically. With that
Bambi, or with Lion King killing on the father. Yeah, I kind of got like a watered down Inglourious Bastards vibe to that opening sequence. I was waiting for them to be some like Jawas or some Ewoks hidden underneath like the floorboards that get kind of shot up by the stormtroopers.
And from reading the books, I knew that Forrest Whitaker's character, he helped them escape originally, so he knew Jyn, so that was fine that he wouldn't find her, but you didn't know that going in. So for as far as watching it, you see, and this guy comes and finds this girl, and you don't know if he's there if she can trust him or not. But from reading the book, I knew she could, but you didn't know that from any point of view.
And can we talk about Forrest Whitaker's character honestly? It's so disappointing.
Well, he's a character. They wanted to try someone in. They wanted to tie someone in from the prequel era, and he was in the cartoon Clone Wars.
Oh.
And so they wanted to throw that in to, kind of and it seems like he was the most affected from the reshoots, because you could see trailers of him with hair and without hair. And this movie he had hair in the beginning, and then at the, he didn't have hair in the beginning, and then he had it at the end. And I think there might have been a whole part of that where they just cut him out, because there was a few lines from that we've seen in trailers that weren't in this movie.
Yeah, there was a line about you got to be like something. You got to be careful what you become.
Yeah, what will you become thing. Yeah.
And it seems to me that there was this whole other movie about Jyn Erso and about this thin line she's walking, because we get her. Okay, she's torn from her family. She witnesses her mother get killed, and then witnesses her father essentially abducted by the Empire. Now that right alone would motivate her, you would think, to be anti-Empire. But here we catch up to her. She's in prison. She's just kind of loafing about, not really caring. But then she goes to see Saw Gerrera again, and then her father dies, and now she cares. It wasn't enough that her mother was murdered in front of her. That's not a lifelong vendetta. No, her dad has to die later on, after he built a weapon of mass destruction for the Empire. But back to Forrest Whitaker. Yeah, it just seems like it was a narrative overcomplication just to meet this kind of requirement, this this corporate inventory requirement that we have to have someone from this era for canon purposes. But it just felt out of place. It like at one point I'm like, wait, what? Why are they going there? Why did Galen send that message to him? And I don't know. It just
he would be the only one that he knows he can trust at that point, because no one else even knows.
I guess, but I don't know. It just seemed like there was a better way to go. There's too many middlemen in this. But Forrest Whitaker,
the whole plot relies on middlemen. It relies on like middlemen and getting this person to here and having the daughter has to be there at the very end.
Exactly,
has to be alive and has to be there to know which file to pull.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
because it's her.
The only person who could fill the file is her, because it's her nickname. And let's get it even. Let's break it. Let's get to the lowest common denominator here, as we would do in high school math. He took that risk, Galen, to get this message out about the plans. Right? The guy built the fucking thing. Why not just tell them everything in the fucking message that he risked everything to get out? I mean, so you're going to risk this guy getting caught, this pilot, and if he gets caught and he's forced to tell the story, it's over. That's it. And if you're going to risk it all, risk it all. So it's just lazy fucking storytelling, like jumbled, lazy storytelling that undermines any sense of momentum and adventure in this movie.
And it deteriorates
back to that stuff. I'm like, well, why?
A New Hope, though, because in essence, it's Luke's 1,000,001 shot. But knowing that this was purposely put in there by someone and making it that difficult to blow it up, still, like, that's a problem for me.
Well,
That's
the
the
thing
problem.
that it answers is that everyone always said from A New Hope that how come that was that chute there that they can fly down was so conveniently placed. Well, now we know it was conveniently placed, so it took away that question. I think that's
What, the canyon?
Yeah, they were saying, oh, how convenient that thing is there. Well, it's conveniently there because it was planned to be there.
Yeah, but see, to me, that's like over-explaining. And
Yes,
now
yes.
it's like, here's this thing. Like the Empire was so smug that it had this great weapon. There's even that moment in A New Hope where Tarkin's like, "We're not leaving. This is our moment of fucking triumph."
Yes.
Right?
Well,
There's a flaw.
we need
Now-
to get into
now-
it soon.
Now it's not just a flaw that came from Imperial ignorance and what have you, and arrogance. It's because this guy decided to put the flaw in there. And there's still an analysis in New Hope. A friend of mine was talking about this today. He's like, in A New Hope, there's even a part where like, hey, we ran an analysis on their attack pattern. There is a weakness, you know? It's like, well, why haven't they discovered this before? I would imagine this is only the most vetted project in all the Empire. See, it just makes you ask these stupid questions that weren't there before, and you don't need them.
Right.
There was a beautiful simplicity to A New Hope, and now it's like, before it was like, okay, they smuggled the plans out and they got them out, and Leia was forced to take drastic measures and get them to Obi-Wan Kenobi and get involved in it, and that's fine. Now it's like this, and this, and we have to explain this. I don't need it explained.
Well,
It's
now I want a movie in between episode 4 and 5 that explains why no rebels told each other how easily it is to destroy AT-ATs on Hoth.
That's coming. I mean, they're going to start filling in holes and everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
we need every single explanation made. Man, this movie, I liked it less than any of you. This movie was terrible. Jyn was as stiff as a wooden board. I used to talk shit on Rey. I am so sorry, Rey. You are a fully realized three-dimensional character. Jyn was terrible. This movie was boring. It was a mess at first, and then it just went to straight boredom. I think they ruined Darth Vader again. Darth Vader doesn't make puns. Darth Vader lets that one rebel with the disc out of the room.
And again,
my God.
destroys some of the stuff in A New Hope where he's questioning Leia.
It absolutely.
Because he just let the guy get away.
He did.
He just
No, but they don't
He
know.
let him
what
get
they-
away. He let the
They
one
still don't know
guy.
where
Today.
the plans are, though, because they searched the ship for the plans still, and they
Yeah, but
can't
he
find.
just watched the ship leave.
Yes.
And the guy
Yeah,
ran
but then
away.
they catch the ship, and he can't find the plans because the plans are in R2.
And how can they catch the ship? The goddamn thing went into hyperspace, and then it just stops in front of Tatooine.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, it does this instant stop.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
just
new funny thing. It's
doesn't
just
make
instant
sense.
stops.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And anyway, in Rogue One, having rewatched it, her mission was to go get Obi-Wan. Okay, so that's why she's going to Tatooine. So why the fuck are you giving her the plans? So now you're giving her two hot potatoes. Go get the only remaining Jedi alive in the fucking galaxy and give her the top secret plans. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the world.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed the last scene of Vader when he's, tossing people around. But honestly, if he knows the guy has the plans, like, just stop everyone. Like, just use the Force and stop everyone.
Or just maybe grab
Close
that
the
little
door on his
disc.
hand.
Yes.
Close the door on his.
I've heard people that love Star Wars talk about that scene and say if it's like one of the best scenes now in Star Wars history. And I'll admit it's a great scene. It's the Vader that we've read about only, really. But it's a throwaway scene. It's Yoda in Attack of the Clones. It's almost a post-credit scene because it almost is completely different from the movie. And the biggest thing it does for me is you watch that Vader just destroy 6 people in a row and do whatever the fuck he wants. And then what's A New Hope? 2 weeks later?
It's that.
He's struggling to beat an 80-year-old man?
Right.
Which I'm not going to be. I don't want to be a person that nitpicks every little fucking thing. But when you make these movies now, you open yourself up to nitpicking of every little thing,
Right.
and that's a huge.
That's a
fucking
big thing. That's a big thing. If
It was
Vader-
bad enough to going from episode 3 to episode 4, where now you know all the backstory to Obi-Wan and Vader, and that kind of never reveals itself in that scene in episode 4. But you're okay with it. But now you're throwing in a whole different thing where Vader is this monster. I was really expecting in this movie for Vader to kick ass, but then something to happen to him that slows him down. Not that anyone can beat him, but just something kind of accident that hurts him, because there was no way to explain how he's this massive killer, and then 2 weeks later he's a slow prodding kind of person.
Maybe he wasn't in his tank in his castle for his little bio.
I mean, honestly, that'll be how they explain it. And
sure, because I mean,
when I read the book, that'll be what it says.
But losing your hand and getting thrown into lava might slow you down. I mean, even if you got a robotic suit. Your buddy Bill Scurry, Mike, is asking that Vader scene was a reshoot, was it not?
Yeah, I think a lot of Vader stuff was reshoot.
I think much of the final act was a reshoot. You could tell there are subtle differences in lighting. Like Greg Fraser's cinematography is kind of smoky throughout most of the thing. There's almost like a grit, but when you get to that planet, I mean, it's a beach planet, it's sunny, whatever, but even in the interiors, it looks a little flatter. I think Joe Morgenstern, for the critic for the Wall Street Journal, pointed that out, and you could tell there's like a different energy in that last act, and I think the reason why people are letting it go is because I feel like, that's what people paid admission for, that awesome X-Wing battle in outer space, and, Darth Vader fucking shit up, and, the rebels on the planet, getting into one problem after another. That's what people go to Star Wars for. That's what the general audience goes to Star Wars for. So yeah, I feel like, what Edwards handed in first didn't have as much action probably, and as much, daring do. Probably was focused a little bit more on Jyn Erso, probably was a little bit more downbeat. And it's weird too, because here I am with a movie where all the main heroes die, and I'm still disappointed in it, and I'm not because I'm not feeling it. Like, I didn't feel invested in these characters. They didn't come together. They didn't foster any real chemistry beyond, Chirrut Imwe and Baze. They didn't really foster any real chemistry until, and it wasn't even real chemistry. It was like Diego Luna coming up to them like, hey, I'm fucking sorry. Let's go do this shit. All right, let's go. Let's roll, And then she has that, may the force be with us. I'm like, where'd this come from? She's giving a speech in front of the Rebel Council. She was some friggin' street rat, just picked up.
That's another thing.
Like, how the hell do they know where she is? That she's the daughter of Galen Erso, but the fucking Empire doesn't?
Well, they also know that Leia is,
The one thing I'll say about the Rebel thing, you said about, she takes over Rebel Council. The Rebels' plan was to do nothing. Yeah. I was shocked by that. I thought the movie was going to be, it was kind of a, well, we have to do this thing. Who's going to volunteer? And then those 6 people say, I'll go. And well, if he's going, I'm going. If everyone, But this was we might just give this up. I don't know. And then she has to sneak away, almost like a Bad Boys 2 bullshit.
Yeah.
and then they say, oh, well, there. I guess we got to go fight. And that was, it was great to see the rebellion when the whole rebellion shows up. I agree that stop scene was kind of weird. But when they all show up there,
grandfather just kind of went.
Yeah.
Anyway. He's there already. Like what?
The hammerhead thing where they slam into the one ship and it crashes the whole thing. It was all great to watch.
The Star Destroyer destruction scene, fucking awesome.
Great. Those are great moments, but just to getting there was just like, all right.
They were the People's Front of Judea right here in this movie. That's how I read them. They were the People's Front of Judea. Oh yes, fuck off. Yes.
Well, that was Forrest Whitaker, the Judean People's Front. Yeah, I know. There's so many people complain about all the politics in the prequels, and that was dreadful. But you got all this politics they threw right at you in Rogue One, and I'm like, who cares?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you say rebellions are built on hope and not rebellions are usually built on economic factors, you kind of have to question their politics here just a little bit.
Not racial factors. Economic. I just want to make a really quick point about the cast, and I love how the cast it felt like the cast actually did feel like a group of rebels. They were mixed appearances, skin color, gender. There was a hearty. I mean, they probably could have used another woman or two in there, because I'm thinking back to Aliens. I would have liked a crew like that, but it was a nice mix without trying. It wasn't like making a point of it. It wasn't trying to be like, oh, look at us, we're multiracial or multicultural. It just was, and it felt organic. It felt real, and I hope it's a it's a good model for movies to come.
It was a good, diverse cast. But I mean, come on, when you see Donnie Yen, don't you, in the back of your mind, think, oh, okay, well, Star Wars needs to appeal to China? I mean, I feel like it's still cynical. I mean, it's still Disney being Disney.
I agree with you. They, especially after The Force Awakens, did not perform as well as they had hoped in China. Mm-hmm. Star Wars traditionally struggles in China. So yeah, I mean, but
this was shot before that.
Yeah, it's cynical. It's a business decision, but he's a talented guy and he added to the movie, so I'm not complaining.
My issue with I thought the cast was great. I thought the Rebels were very good. This movie was sold a lot though on Mikkelsen and Mendelsohn. I'm sorry if I mixed some letters in there. And they're barely in this movie. I mean, Galen Erso was in 3 scenes, and Krennic is getting on a ship, landing, getting off, getting back on the ship, going somewhere else, landing. It's a cool landing scene, I'll give you that. It does the whole Kylo Ren flat thing. But he's just kind of going... He's not had many scenes one-on-one with anybody. He has one scene with Tarkin, or what you want to call Tarkin.
Oh, my God.
Get into that.
He had one scene with... He had the 2 scenes with Erso, and these are lifelong friends. I know because I read the book. You couldn't tell me that from watching this thing because they had very little chemistry. And I don't know if that's happens, if that was reshoot based but they're just, I thought they were sold as major parts of this movie and they're not really in the movie that much.
Yeah,
I wanted a lot more Empire in this movie.
I was surprised.
And there just wasn't much.
Yeah. And the thing about Krennic too is like, he just was going everywhere the rebels were going.
Yeah, he was just on a chase basically the whole
time. Why the hell did he have to go to that place? Go to Scarif at the end to find every communication that Galen Erso made. Because the rebels are going there and they needed him there so he could have a showdown with Jyn Erso, only to be fucking shot by Diego Luna. Another, she's denied. Jyn Erso was denied everything in this movie. So cutting out the coolest shot where she's facing down a TIE fighter. I mean, that would have been badass.
I'm looking at the chat and there's some good stuff going on there, so I wanted to bring this up. Basically, Dee's talking about Vader and how he existed on Gravitas. He didn't really have to be violent and a killer because he's just a badass on his own without having to actually show it. Dee also brings up something we'll talk about too, is fan pandering and how it seemed like Episode 7 got kind of criticized and JJ got criticized a lot for pandering to fans, and I'd like to argue that Rogue One was way worse.
No, I thought it was subtle. I thought it was a lot subtler because there's a lot of deep cuts.
It was all in your face. No, it was all up in your face what they were doing.
Here's the thing.
It's like, why did these guys have to be here on Jedha? Let's just throw them in. That's
a throwaway thing. That's not that big. You see them in the background.
It takes you out of the movie, though. R2 and C-3PO didn't have to be in this movie.
They're the Stan Lee.
Princess Leia did not have to be in this movie. Grand Moff Tarkin did not have to be in this movie to such an extent.
Not to an extent. He had to be in the movie, but they used him horribly. They didn't have to show him as much. They could have shown him with holograms.
That's what I was thinking. Yes, a hologram communication. Yeah.
Right.
When the first time they showed him and you see the reflection of him talking, I thought, wow, that's great. And I thought that would be it. But then he turns around and starts walking around like a fucking jerk off.
Yeah, his eye lines never match.
His eye lines, his arms are he was wobbling as he moved. It was just it took me with that and the fucking text on screen in the first 10 minutes. I was sitting there pissed off for a half hour in a Star Wars movie, eating a big stupid tub of popcorn.
What did you say about Creed? You watched Creed the other night, Marty?
I was pretty drunk and saying horrible things on Twitter.
We managed to recast.
But yeah, you couldn't recast it. I understand you couldn't recast Tarkin. It would have been stupid.
You can.
You could have, yes. But in most movies, if this happened, they would have just recast somebody instead of trying.
You can't recast Harrison Ford. They're doing that. They should do a young CGI Harrison Ford for the Han Solo movie, right?
Yeah, good point. Good point. And I'm scared the shit of that movie now.
Bill in the chat brings up something we were talking about pre-show. And this is in Abe's notes. Saw Gerrera and Frank Booth.
Yes. With the stupid... I mean, what was that? I don't get it with the gas mask.
Well, I mean, again, that'll be stuff you probably would have had to watch Clone Wars for, and you would have to read stuff on. He's been through the wars now for 20 years.
I mean, I was so bored at this point in the movie. I'm googling how can a Star Destroyer hover over a city without them feeling the draft of the pushdown.
You shouldn't
go.
go.
And then Jyn Erso gets knocked down by the draft of Krennic's ship.
Yes, I wrote that down. She gets.
You shouldn't Google at the theater.
I was that bored. I sit in the corner. I bought the seat next to me so nobody would sit next to me so I could Google when I was bored.
That is antisocial.
But man, yeah, this is what I'm doing because I'm so painfully bored. I don't even. By the time the last act kicks in and the movie gets good, I was already checked out so far. I just couldn't wait to get home. I was like, I've made a huge mistake. I don't even want to talk about this piece of shit. I mean, it was that bad. The music, I wanted to touch on that again. The music was not good. I'm sorry. Oh. This was terrible. I actually wrote, I can't believe that an adult actually wrote this music. It's that bad. Horner shows you how you can write a score really fast. Just butcher yourself from other movies.
Oh yeah, Aliens.
Yeah.
You get the 3 horns, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
The thing about, let's go back to the Force Awakens thing, and the funny thing is about this Rogue One is that I don't dislike it. I'm just kind of meh on it. Like, there's a lot of stupid shit, but I had fun with it, and it went down easier the second time. But what's driving me crazy, and I shouldn't, because I'm a grown up and I should walk away. But when I see people who trash the Force Awakens love this movie, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Because the Force Awakens, it echoed A New Hope too much. But that's the thing. That's, love it or hate it. These people are still saying that, it goes against the spirit of what Lucas was doing. No, it kept in the spirit of Lucas, following that structure, that mythic structure, eternal recurrence, history repeats itself. And people say, oh, why do they keep building Death Stars? Oh, I don't know. Why do we keep going to fucking war in Asia? Why do we keep fucking doing stupid shit in this country? Why do empires do dumb things? Because they think they know better, and it's a statement on the human condition, and it's so ingrained in the original saga. This movie though was like, we're gonna try to be different, but we're gonna keep reminding you it's a Star Wars movie. It's like fucking waving flags in America. It's like, yeah, we know we're in America. We don't, come on, we know we're in a Star Wars movie. You don't have to keep reminding us. There's no point to it. Like that. When I saw those 2 guys from the cantina, I was like, what? Why?
Seriously. And in the scheme of things, since Jedha gets blown up, I mean, they had to have escaped before it gets blown up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they left. Maybe were they?
They had to. Yeah.
Who cares?
Apparently, only the one town gets blown. It wasn't like a full planet destruction.
I mean, you pan out. That looked like massive.
Oh, it was massive.
Though. I know they said look at the city, but that looked like. Yeah. And again, it weakens the whole concept of the Death Star when it blows up that planet for the first time, because now you're seeing it's like, it can do little tiny damage, or it can blow up a planet. I just want to see it blowing up planets.
New Hope, don't they say that they're testing it the first time too?
Yes.
Simple things, continuity.
I'll echo what Mike said. I didn't hate. Of course, I'm not on the ape train. I didn't have to Google shit during the movie. I didn't hate it, of course, but it's just
like Abe Train, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't understand how people came out of this movie, and people who I respect, who I've host Star Wars shows that I watch and are recommended books that I love reading, who come out and saying that they loved this movie.
I don't see.
Or that it's as good as Empire Strikes Back. How the fuck is this as good as Empire Strikes Back? I just don't understand how you get to that point. It's an enjoyable movie. It's got great action. People love the Vader thing because that's what they wanted to see. I think if you take it out as just part of this movie, it's unnecessary, and it's just something that they always wanted to see, so they love it. But why it's there, you can't tell me why that's there. But Empire Strikes Back, Luke versus fucking Vader, that's the best scene in Star Wars, not some throwaway scene where Vader is fucking up 6 guys you never heard of.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you can put that up as a great scene. It's cool. I mean, people chuckled when he slices that guy up who was stuck on a ceiling because he forgot about him. But to say it's some great, it adds to the history of Star Wars. It adds to the greatest scene of all time. It just doesn't. It's like I said, it's no better than when the first time we saw Yoda took out a lightsaber. It was great. It was cool, but it was still, as a part of a movie, it didn't work.
Yeah, it detracts
that
from
Ninja Yoda shit. Just bothers me still to this day. Him doing those flips and stuff like that, and then
I mean,
he ages horrible as maybe it's a Jedi thing because he ages horribly between that and when we see him again.
Maybe there is a curve, where you just really fall off. Yeah.
It's a really fast curve.
Prequels Yoda is a complete failure. That gets lost somehow. Yeah. But he's a complete failure.
Well, I'm sorry. You brought up Empire Strikes Back, so I want to bring something up too, because everybody talked about how great it was that the Rebels exist in this kind of gray area, and I know I talked about it with Dan. But you gray up the Rebels, but you still keep the Empires cartoonishly evil. So no stakes have changed. All you've done is make. Any action that the rebellion does is still acceptable because the Empire is still purely cartoonishly evil. There's no redeeming factors to them whatsoever.
That's another movie thing. I keep harking on the reading stuff. But when you read some of the canon stuff and you watch some of the stuff, you see some of the people.
But you get my point, right? Gray actions are okay against pure fucking evil. Yeah.
But I've read a book, Lost Stars, which I'll recommend to anybody who wants to get into the canon. It tells a story of people who join the Empire because it's kind of like a job. It's what they do, and they're friends of the Empire. So when the Death Star blows up, they hate the rebellion because they just killed 1 million of their friends, basically. So that kind of stuff. But you don't get any of that in the movie, really. Mm-hmm. You get some of it with Anakin along the way, but not much. So that's why I wanted more of Krennic in this movie, because I thought Krennic might be that vehicle that would show a different side of the Empire. Mm-hmm. But they didn't give him much. They didn't give him a lot there that I'd seen in the books.
Well, let's talk about the graying of the Rebels. All right. Yeah. All right. So, okay. I don't even know. I think it's false grayness, to be honest with you, because even though Cassian kills that informer at the beginning, it's not like informer is like a whining little bitch. It's like that dude, of course, is going to get killed. It's like he's not like a real, he's unhealthy and he's desperate and whatever. So of course Cassian's going to kill him. It's not like he's killing someone who's able-bodied and doesn't look like they're going to turn after someone twists their arm. And then then they talk about Saw Gerrera's militants and everything, but they're going after Imperials. They're blowing up tanks and shit. They're blowing after They're blowing up stormtroopers. Again, it's only gray because the people, Mon Mothma and the people back of the Rebel Alliance, are still wishy-washy on going to war, Eventually they do go to war. So they do all of these things that, they were only doing on the sidelines or Saw Gerrera was going to do. So I don't even know if it's graying. It's them realizing that they have to get down and dirty with these guys. And you're right, the stakes don't change, Abe. I think it's even less than what you say. I don't even think it's a graying of the rebellion. I think it's gray hues, overlaid.
It just showed a different side a little. And again, Mon Mothma, she's a little more popular in the lore than she deserves to be, because again, not much in this movie. She doesn't have it. She couldn't rally the troops. She couldn't convince anybody to do anything. She was one of the people giving up too at the end of the movie. She was like, well, I can't, if everyone's not voting for it, we can't do anything. Even give her the chance to go on the side to Jin and say, all right, you guys go.
Do this. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Someone else, some balls in this movie.
I'm gonna change topics real quick. I'm gonna hit the chat first, but I got something that I do want to bring up that some of us have already talked about a couple of days ago. In the chat, seeing Alex asking, "Is this movie fan fiction?"
Pretty fucking close.
It's close, right?
Yeah. Everything is fan fiction.
I think Harry Wood even admitted that he wrote the story.
Stefan is saying episode 4 was such a virginal movie. The central motive should have been left untouched.
Yeah.
Bill Scurry's asking, is everyone feeling good about Rian Johnson?
Rian
Johnson?
Rian.
Yeah, I don't leave this movie worried about episode 8. I leave this movie more worried about the Han Solo movie. But I'm still confident in the episodic films going forward.
Yeah, Rian Johnson, he's a good director, good filmmaker. I think he takes enough narrative risks in his own stuff where enough of it can kind of seep through. I mean, he still has to answer to Lucasfilm and Disney, but I think after The Force Awakens was so familiar, I think we can expect something to veer off a little bit in the next entry, while still kind of fitting the outline, the traditional structure. I don't know. I'm confident in him. Colin Trevorrow, on the other hand, in Episode 9, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but Jurassic World is dumb fun, but it's dumb.
He's not.
Really
He's
dumb
not.
fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's dumb.
He's not
fun.
writing Episode 9 though.
Well, Johnson wrote the story. I think Trevorrow Trevorrow is. I mean, he's going to be the director. Of course, he's like Gareth Edwards was in the writers' room with Gary Whitta from Jump Street. So directors always get in the writing room there. So
the topic I want to switch to, and we briefly talked about with the gray area, but can we talk about Martha? Let's talk about Martha, please. And how does Martha relate to Rogue One?
Well, Martha, of course, was the much derided pivotal moment in Batman v Superman, where Superman says you have to save Martha, and Batman is jarred because, oh my God, that's my mother's name too. And I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, they had the same name, we're best friends, but they completely missed the point. There's something Freudian going on there. There's the whole movie, the whole structure of Batman v Superman is like this Freudian breakthrough for Bruce Wayne. Superman is helping him see the light, and the common bond being the mother, of course, it makes it that more powerful. And that got ripped and knocked and everything. But the climax of Rogue One is entirely based on Jyn Erso being there at the archives. She has to be there because she's the only one who knows that Galen would call the fucking files Stardust. That's it. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
That's like with Batman v Superman, there's something thematic there. There's something meaty. There's something below the text. Here, it's just like coincidence. She's still alive, and she happens to be in that spot.
I would excuse that to movie making, just it's a movie, get over it. But the fact that they put it in his message that he doesn't know if she's alive or not.
Right. Like, if he had sent the message to her, right? He gets a message to the Rebel Alliance saying, I need you to find my daughter, Jyn Erso, because this, and this. And then they go find her. Then you don't need the fucking Saw Gerrera shit. You don't need the pilot. Maybe you keep the pilot, but he's not so instrumental. He's like, he defected. He could steal ships for us. There are other ways to write this movie. Again, middlemen, Dan, like you said before.
It's so convoluted. It really is not an easy plot to, yeah.
But yeah. I know you said that Abe was talking about how, so many of the people that are praising Rogue One for being gritty took DC to task, right?
Right. That's the other point to make is it's okay for the Rebels to have this gray area, but not your Superman.
Oh, that's not my Superman. No.
Not my Superman.
No. Not my Rebels. These are not my Rebels.
This wasn't my Star Wars, so.
Hashtag not my Star Wars.
Oh, God.
Dan, Abe, for the rest of these shows, can you put down on the bottom of my screen what town I'm in, so people know exactly where we are at all fucking times?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't want the planet names anymore, but I want the damn character names up on screen so I know what the hell they're. I mean, I was really struggling to keep up with some of these character names. Is his name really Saw? What? And then I mean, I was lost with some of these characters' names.
It's like Che Guevara.
Well, maybe next time we'll do it like Suicide Squad, where everybody gets their own little wrestling entrance, and
3 times.
Yeah,
put their stats up on the screen.
Right, I wouldn't have minded at some points if they just repeated.
Now hailing from Jedha, Saw Gerrera.
Sometimes the name thing works, like in Schindler's List, like
it works in like documentaries. Sometimes even that's lazy to me. I hate that in every movie I see because I just think it's lazy filmmaking. But when I saw it in the Star Wars film, I was just really pissed off. I don't know if you can tell.
I didn't really have a big problem with that. I don't care if they tell us what planet we're on. That really didn't bother me.
And here's the thing: they told me what planet I was on. I still fucking forgot. Like what?
Yeah, it's like it's not that integral to it. It's like these are kind of weird, fun names that the hardcore people remember, and it's fun. But it's not like
I love how the rebels just roll up on that refinery and just fucking blow the shit out of it. They knew it was there before. Why didn't they just fucking blow it up before? The fuck?
Well, I don't know it was there. They were led there by whatever the fuck before.
By middlemen.
Why wasn't this
middlemen?
Why wasn't this just a straight remake of Ocean's 11? Just do that and you would have been fine. Just remake Ocean's 11. This would have been perfect. This was so convoluted. This was grating, and it was confusing and boring.
I won't give you boring, but I'll give you a couple of elements.
JJ made a much more exciting Star Wars movie. It may have plot holes, but at least it moves. It moves, so you don't even.
It felt like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I love Force Awakens. So I didn't love this movie.
I know next to nothing about Rey, but I'm so invested in what.
Yeah, but that's the issue with Star Wars. You always had another movie to look forward to, but then you wouldn't.
Even in the confines of the Force Awakens, like I was rooting for her when she got that lightsaber at the end. When she was fighting back Kylo Ren's mind rape. When she was doing all that stuff, like I was like, hell yeah. Even when she's like. There's that great moment early on where she decides, you know what, I'm not going to sell BB-8. It's little character moments like that. Jyn Erso is like, Jin's a little girl. She's saved by Saw Gerrera. Then she's rescued by the rebels. And then, she's like this passive character that's nudged along the story. And then she gives a fucking a speech in front of the Rebel Alliance and doesn't do anything. And then she's like, oh, okay, we're going to get on the ship now. And with all these people I just met and don't like. So there was like no appeal to her, and I know most of her story, and I just wasn't invested in her.
I want to calculate the odds of how many times people are going to comment on this episode in anger. I predict the odds will be repeated about 50 times throughout the rest of the show.
In the theater I was in, none of the jokes landed from Wash. I don't know what the fuck his name was in the Star Wars. From Wash, none of the jokes landed.
K2SO? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that guy. Wash from Firefly. I thought Alan Tudyk. I remember when I thought him playing with dinosaurs was a little cringe. Him repeating the odds joke over and over, that was much more cringe.
Yeah, I've had enough of the odds jokes in Star Wars.
Yeah. But like Dan said, this was a much more blatant I'm drawing a blank now. This
nostalgia.
This was much more blatant in its nostalgia. Pulling on the threads.
I did want to throw in the fact that we might get slammed for trying to be the troll people who are just going against the movie, but you can watch my review hours after I watched it. I know I talked to Mike after he saw it the first day on the Monday before, and he wasn't thrilled about it. Abe doesn't like anything, so he's not trolling us.
No.
And Dan, I guess Dan, you liked it a bit, but you're not in love with it.
So here's some of the positives. I think it looked beautiful. Like honestly, I think it looked really good. The space battle overall, I think the space battle was well done. I mentioned earlier that jarring kind of stop thing in the hyperspace or whatever the hell they call it. That kind of took me out. I thought it was an issue with the 3D. For some reason, I took my glasses off. I thought there was something like wrong with the 3D the first time it happened. Maybe like the picture stopped. I don't know. But I thought the space battle was well done. There's some really good action sequences in there. When I left it, I was thinking, it's like, man, if Lucas had the technology when he made the original 3, it would kind of look a lot like this. And then I took a step back. It's like, no. If he had the technology, it would probably look like those shitty prequels, because that's what he would try to do and gloss everything up and make it look too fancy. This is what, not Lucas, but if someone else made these movies, when Lucas did, but with this technology, what it would look like. And I was very happy with that. I think there's a good amount of positives to this film, and I did. I had fun. I didn't groan. It wasn't as bad as some of the other films that I've watched this year. #Synergy. Watch some of the roundtable reviews we've done on this channel throughout the year.
I must say, I don't think there's a blockbuster that we liked this year. looking back. This is the one I like the best because this has the best ending. A lot of our other blockbusters that we reviewed had shitty endings.
I'm still hot.
This kind of reversed it.
Doctor Strange is still way better than this. Yeah,
I was pretty drunk for that review.
I don't know. Good point. I don't know if there's been a consensus. I think positive notes. Star Trek Beyond. I think we all had a relatively positive consensus on when we roundtabled that.
Yeah.
I think Doctor Strange was pretty much one of the main ones that we almost all agreed on. I know Marty probably the most negative, but again, we excuse that because of your state of mind.
Like I said, I didn't mind Doctor Strange. I was kind of bored with it. I just didn't care about it as I was watching it.
Doctor Strange was weak.
Was what?
Weak.
Oh, you're weak.
Oh.
Tell you, Disney managed to waste Mads Mikkelsen twice.
Yeah, I mean, Mads Mikkelsen is going to be, 20 minutes total of movie time in the two biggest movies of the year?
Yeah, he was, like I said, I was excited when I heard his casting.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, we're getting Hannibal in a Star Wars movie. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's in 2 scenes and a hologram scene. And in all scenes, he's a complete fucking punk. This guy killed your wife in front of you. Oh, I'm gonna go work for him on the sneak though, because he might. If I don't, he might kill my daughter, which I don't know if she's alive anyway.
I don't even know if she's alive yet.
Why not just put a self-destruct button in there?
Yeah, where, I don't think people of Alderaan consider him a hero after all this.
Like a remote control that it can blow up from his refinery. Just push a button so it just blows up.
Like people, even reading the book, he wasn't a heroic figure in the book. People think he is, but he was a guy who got seduced by the power of kyber crystals, and just he was in love with his own genius. And it wasn't until like the last 10 pages of Catalyst that he even discovered that he was being played the whole time, and his wife had to tell him. And then they go run away instead of doing anything about it. Then they just find him, and he goes back anyway. So to say that Ursa was some kind of heroic figure in Star Wars lore.
Man, the kyber crystals, it didn't bother me as much as midichlorians, chlorides, whatever, but still, when they start unraveling the mystery of things and just like throwing, I mean,
it's been around for a while, but like one of those things where you just don't mention. It's like, gives a fuck. Like,
God.
All right. Well, we got about 3 minutes left in the show, so we'll do some final thoughts. Abe, final thoughts.
Don't go see it. Don't go see it. If you haven't seen it, just wait for video. For the love of God, don't go see it. Just leave the Star Wars standalone movies alone. That's my takeaway from here.
Marty, your counter argument.
I will say to go see it. It's a fun time in the theater. Especially for casual fans. Casual fans love this movie. My girlfriend loved the movie. People who aren't as obsessed with the lore or just hate things as much as Abe does will enjoy the movie. And I will give thanks to Rogue One for the one thing. I always kind of worried that I was blinded to Star Wars, that I just love Star Wars and I couldn't, I was blinded to that fact and I couldn't see a bad movie. Seeing this and saying, oh, I don't really love this one, makes me enjoy the other ones more, if that helps at all.
Yes,
still
feel
not.
Better about yourself.
I'm gonna go see it again. I already bought tickets. I'm not sure if I would have if I hadn't already bought tickets. But I will see it again. Hopefully, I'm sure it'll be better the second time around, where I'm not as upset about. I'm not as thrown back by Tarkin, or some of the other things that bother me at first sight. Should just sit back as a movie. I think I'll enjoy it again.
Maybe you can go and you'll be Sith faced while you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Mike, final words.
I think I've devoted too much thought to this movie, to be honest with you. I want to read a book now.
Not Catalyst.
I had just read Silence, the Japanese novel that has inspired Martin Scorsese's next movie, and I'm moving on to The Name of the Rose, which I had never read before.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'm going to read a book and meditate on Twin Peaks coming back next year.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into some Oscar
donuts.
movies now.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going and seeing Manchester of the Sea and La La Land. I want to see some Oscar movies right now.
Moonlight is a great film.
Yeah.
And through and through, great film.
We should do some of those reviews as well.
Yeah.
Well, this might be my last episode for a while. So
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sucker.
Please make sure to like this video, comments in the chat. It was actually a hopping chat. A lot of talk in the chat. I couldn't even keep up. But I'm glad that people joined us and watched us live. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. You can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. I'm saving that, Marty. I'll wait until the end. We're gonna be back this Thursday, hopefully, if we can get people, right?
Yeah, I think the debate show might be going on a mid-season hiatus soon.
I'm around.
All right.
Yep.
We can do this, Abe.
Yeah.
We can get people. So we will be back this Thursday, 9 p.m. We're going to do a debate show. We'll get this going. It's going to be a holiday-related debate show, right?
Yes.
If anyone in the chat wants to ever do the debate show, seriously, just hit us up. What is it? It's
Twitter.
Facebook, Twitter. Yeah.
I can
that
get
Bill
Nick.
Scurry character has some YouTube experience. If you could rope him in, I bet you he'd be a fine guest.
All right. Anyone in the chat, just hit us up and
Hit us on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, we'll be back next. Well, we will be back next Tuesday at 9 p.m. I don't know if I'll be on that show. Hopefully, I will be able to join for at least one more episode. We'll try to do a yearly recap, a yearly stuff, if you will. We'll do that. So, it's a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate it. Have a great night. Bye.
Merry Christmas.